Imagine this, a 17-year-old girl, Hannah, pouring her heart into a feast for 30 people, transforming her family's small Seattle restaurant into a glowing masterpiece for her grandma's birthday. 4 days of no sleep, hands sticky with glaze, eyes burning from chopping onions, all for one perfect night. She's got chandeliers twinkling, laser-etched menus, a 4-tier cake that could grace a magazine cover. She's practiced every dish, tweaked every flavor, gluten-free for her uncle, vegan for her cousin, no shellfish for the VIPs. She's spent her own savings, danced around the kitchen till 2 a.m., and now, at 6 p.m., with the first guest pulling into the lot, her phone buzzes. It's her dad. One text shatters everything. We're at a Michelin star restaurant downtown. Adults only. Don't make a scene. No apology, no warning. Just gone. Hannah freezes, a tray of appetizers in her trembling hands. The clatter as it hits the floor echoes like a gunshot. Her face crumples, not loud sobs, but silent, gut-wrenching tears, the kind that hurt to watch. She looks at that cake, her pride and joy, and whispers, "I want to smash it all." I'm Laura, her mom, standing in the doorway, my heart breaking as I watch my daughter's dream collapse. But I'm not just heartbroken, I'm furious. They didn't just ditch her food, they ditched her. And then, the kicker, my phone pings again. A $2,000 charge on my card. From the same Michelin star restaurant they're at, they used my money to erase her moment. But here's where it gets wild. This isn't the story of a ruined night. It's the story of a girl who turned betrayal into a headline, a mom who set the night on fire, and a community that showed up when family walked out. Stick around, because what happened next will leave you speechless, and maybe a little hungry. Let me take you to the heart of Seattle, to our family's little restaurant tucked amid the bustle of Pike Place Market. It's not fancy, but it's ours. A warm corner where the smell of fresh-baked bread and roasted garlic greets you at the door. This is where my daughter Hannah, 17, decided to throw a grand birthday party for her grandmother's 67th. When she came to me with the idea, her eyes sparkled like she'd found the key to her future. "Mom," she said, "I want to do it all. Every dish, every detail. I want to show everyone I'm a real chef." I saw the fire in her, the same fire I had when I opened this place despite my family's doubts. So I said yes, knowing it'd be tough, knowing our family could be harsh, but believing in her dream. Hannah didn't just plan a party, she crafted a masterpiece. For 4 days, she transformed our restaurant into a dreamscape. She rented golden chandeliers to light the room, draped tables in crisp white linen, and arranged fresh peonies in sparkling glass jars. She handwrote name cards for 30 guests, each letter inked with care, and designed laser-etched wooden menus. Weeks in the making, she accounted for every dietary need. Gluten-free bread for her uncle, vegan stuffed peppers for her cousin, no seafood for grandma's VIP guests. She spent every cent of her summer job savings on organic produce, Wagyu beef, and truffle oil that made the kitchen smell like a 5-star hotel. Each night, I watched her hunched over her notebook, checking tasks. Test rosemary sauce. Too sweet. Practice frosting flowers. Getting there. She borrowed a cake turntable from a friend and watched YouTube videos to master perfect buttercream rosettes. By day 4, she ran on adrenaline and black coffee. Hair tied high, apron smudged, but her smile unstoppable. She danced from oven to counter, humming jazz, saying, "Mom, this is what I was born to do." The kitchen was a symphony of sizzling pans and bubbling sauces. She made a 4-tier cake, each layer a different flavor: lemon, chocolate, lavender, vanilla. topped with edible gold leaf and sugared purple flowers. It wasn't just food, it was art. But for Hannah, it wasn't only about the food. It was personal. Our family, Grandma, Aunt Claire, the whole lot, always dismissed her passion. "Cute hobby," they'd say, or "you'll grow out of it." Just like they called my restaurant a little side thing. Hannah wanted tonight to prove them wrong, to show she wasn't just a kid playing chef. She asked me, "Mom, think they'll love it?" I nodded, but my stomach twisted. I knew how cruel they could be. Still, seeing her glow, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd see her the way I did. By 4 p.m. on party day, the restaurant was ready. Hannah stood behind the counter, chef's coat crisp, hair curled, radiating the tired but beautiful energy of someone chasing their purpose. The air was thick with thyme, butter, and possibility. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. As the chandeliers in our restaurant began to shimmer, as the first guests parked outside, my phone buzzed. I stood beside Hannah, watching her carefully arrange appetizer plates. Pan-seared lobster with passion fruit sauce, a dish she'd perfected on her 5th try. She smiled, eyes blazing despite 4 sleepless days. Then I glanced at the screen, a text from my dad, Robert. "We're at the Michelin restaurant downtown. Adults only. VIP guests. Don't make a fuss." No apology, no punctuation. Just that. As if Hannah's world wasn't worth a single explanation. My blood ran cold. Hannah set the appetizer tray on the table, still humming a jazz tune, when I gripped my phone, trying to steady my trembling hands. She turned, asking, "Mom, is the lighting okay?" I didn't answer right away. I stepped to a corner, pretending to check the tables, but really hiding the fury heating my face. I called Dad. 2 rings. "Hello," he said, voice cheery, like he was sipping wine. "Are you really at another restaurant?" I asked, struggling to stay calm. "Yeah, just sat down. The menu here's great. Everyone's here." Everyone. The whole family. "But Hannah cooked for 4 days," I said, voice cracking. "She was up since 5 a.m. and for 30 people." A beat of silence, then, "Tell her not to overdo it. Freeze the leftovers. Gotta go. Waiter's here." He hung up. No remorse. I called Mom, Susan, hoping for something different. "Hello," she answered, voice icy, like nothing was wrong. "You're really not coming?" I asked. She sighed. "Laura, don't start. We just thought a restaurant was easier. Besides, who'd eat food a kid cooked? What if someone gets sick? Hannah's only 17, not a chef." I wanted to scream that she'd taken culinary classes, crafted a professional menu, sanitized the kitchen better than a hospital, but she cut me off. "Stop making a scene. This is my party, not Hannah's stage." I hung up, hands shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Finally, I called my sister Claire, though I knew it was hopeless. "Oh, Laura," she said, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Don't guilt trip us. Hannah's so dramatic. Cooking for 30, who wants to be her guinea pig?" The word guinea pig made me clench my jaw. Claire added, "She's 17. She needs to learn not everything's about her." I hung up mid-sentence, done listening. Back in the kitchen, Hannah was still arranging plates, but her eyes flickered with doubt. She looked at me, then at the phone in my hand. "Mom, what's wrong?" she asked, voice small. Before I could stop her, she grabbed the phone, opened the family group chat. Her face paled as she saw Claire's photo. The family around a long table at the Michelin restaurant, wine glasses glinting, Mom beaming, Dad raising a toast. Hannah stood there holding the lobster tray. Then it slipped, crashing to the floor. The shatter echoed like an explosion. She didn't scream, didn't sob. Tears rolled down slow as if she was ashamed to feel the pain. She looked at her 4-tier cake, her masterpiece with gold leaf and sugared violets, and whispered, "I did all this for this." I stood there, heart crushed, but in my mind a fire ignited. They didn't just ditch Hannah's party. They ditched her, and I, Laura, her mother, wouldn't let this end here. I stood in the restaurant kitchen, the smell of pan-seared lobster and passion fruit sauce still lingering, but the air was heavy, as if someone had sucked out all the oxygen. Hannah, my daughter, stood there, eyes red, staring at the shattered appetizer tray on the floor. Tears rolled down her face, but she made no sound. No screams, no sobs, just a painful silence, the kind that tells you a heart is breaking inside. "I want to smash it all," she whispered, eyes fixed on her 4-tier cake, her masterpiece with edible gold leaf and sugared violets she'd spent hours perfecting. Her voice was so small I had to strain to hear, but each word stabbed my heart. I wanted to hold her, to say everything would be okay, but my throat tightened. I, Laura, Hannah's mom, felt more helpless than ever. I looked at her, and memories flooded back like a tidal wave. I remembered how my family, my parents, my sister Claire, belittled me when I opened this restaurant. A little side thing, they called it, despite the sweat and tears I poured to make it real. "Laura, why not get a stable job?" they said, as if my passion was a joke. "Hannah, she's like me, but bolder, stronger. She didn't just want to cook, she wanted to be a chef, to make the world know her name. But now, our family did the same to her, trampling her dream, calling her 4 days of effort child's play. I saw myself in Hannah's eyes, and it hurt more than their insults ever could." Hannah stepped toward the cake, her trembling hand brushing the frosting. "I did it all for Grandma," she said, voice cracking. I thought they'd be proud." She turned to me, eyes brimming. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" That question hit like a punch. I wanted to scream that no, she did nothing wrong, that they were the ones in the wrong. But before I could speak, she turned away, wiping tears with the back of her hand, trying to hide her pain. That was the moment I realized the worst pain isn't watching your child cry. It's watching them fight back tears so you won't worry. I stepped forward, grabbing her hand. "Hannah," I said, voice steady though my heart bled, "you did nothing wrong. You created a masterpiece. They don't deserve it, but I won't let them ruin this moment." She looked at me, eyes confused yet hopeful, like she was waiting for me to lead the way. And in that instant, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't let her think her dream was worthless. I couldn't let our family, who used my credit card to pay for their lavish dinner, win this cruel game. I took a deep breath, anger and resolve flaring like a fire. "Hannah," I said, "we're not smashing the cake. We're going to make them regret this." She blinked, not fully understanding, but I was already reaching for my phone. I didn't know exactly what I'd do, but I knew one thing. I wouldn't let my daughter hurt for one more second. They thought they could ditch Hannah and walk away unscathed. They were wrong. This story was just beginning, and I'd make sure all of Seattle knew it. I stood in the restaurant kitchen, watching Hannah wipe tears, still clutching the cake-decorating knife like it was the only thing keeping her upright. The scent of pan-seared lobster and passion fruit sauce lingered, but her 4-tier cake, radiant with edible gold leaf and sugared violets, now stood as a painful reminder of our family's betrayal. I, Laura, Hannah's mom, felt anger flare like a fire. They, my parents, my sister Claire, the whole lot, not only ditched her, They used my credit card for their lavish Michelin dinner. They thought we'd stay silent, swallow the hurt, and let them walk away? No way. I grabbed Hannah's hand, looking into her eyes. We won't let them win, I said, voice firm. I'll make all of Seattle taste your food. Hannah blinked, face confused. But who'll come, Mom? They're all gone. I didn't have an answer yet, but I knew I had to act. I grabbed my phone and started calling. First was Mike, my husband, at his wood shop, 20 minutes away. Come now, I said. He didn't ask questions, just replied, I'm on my way. Then I called friends, neighbors, regular customers. I called the fish delivery guy from Pike Place Market, the barista from the corner, even a local chef who'd praised Hannah's pumpkin soup. My daughter cooked for 30, I said, voice steady. Our family bailed. If you're hungry, come now. Bring friends. I wasn't inviting, I was summoning. Within 30 minutes, the restaurant came alive. Cars filled the lot. First came my college best friend, with a bottle of wine and her 3 hungry teens. Then Tom, our neighbor with terrible jokes, brought his whole family. Lily, our regular who always sat in the corner, showed up with her husband and a bouquet of tulips grabbed from the market. Even the fish guy, still in his sea-scented jacket, grinned wide. Heard there's free lobster. I laughed the first time that night and pointed to the kitchen. Ask Hannah. Hannah stood frozen behind the counter, eyes wide. Mom, what are you doing? She whispered, voice a mix of panic and awe. Saving your night, I replied, nudging her toward the oven. Reheat the appetizers. We've got real guests now. She shook her head, but I saw her eyes spark. She moved slowly at first, then faster, like her fire was reignited. She warmed the lobster, checked sauces, muttered about oven temps like a pro chef. I dragged out 2 folding tables, set up chairs, and played jazz. Hannah's cooking music. The restaurant, cold moments ago, buzzed with chatter and laughter. When all 30 seats were filled, Hannah stepped out, holding an appetizer tray, her chef's coat crisp despite red eyes. Thank you for coming, she said, voice trembling but resolute. This is pan-seared lobster with passion fruit sauce. I hope you enjoy. Applause broke out, not polite but genuine. I stood in the corner, watching her serve. My chest lighter. They didn't just come to eat. They came for Hannah, for her dream. This wasn't pity. It was a statement, our way of telling the family, you were wrong. But the story didn't stop there. Someone was about to arrive, and they'd change everything. Our little restaurant in Pike Place Market buzzed like a night market. Laughter, clinking glasses, and the aroma of pan-seared lobster with passion fruit sauce filled the air. Hannah, my daughter, glided between tables, serving main courses, grilled wagyu with rosemary sauce and truffle mashed potatoes, with a confidence I'd never seen. Her eyes were still red from the family's betrayal, but her smile, though small, was real. Guests, from the fish delivery guy to our regular Lily, raved. Hannah, this beats any 5-star restaurant. Tom, our neighbor, with terrible jokes, shouted, making the room erupt in laughter. I stood in a corner, watching her shine, thinking, keep going, she'll be okay. But then the restaurant door swung open, and everything exploded. A young woman, maybe 25, strode in, phone raised, filming. She wore a leather jacket, green-dyed hair, and a radiant smile. This is Hannah's restaurant, right? She asked, loudly, voice brimming with excitement. I nodded, a bit stunned. I'm Mia, food TikToker, 300K followers, she announced, turning to her camera. Guys, I just heard. This 17-year-old cooked a feast for 30, but her family ditched her for a Michelin spot. I'm here to taste her food. The room buzzed, a few clapping. Hannah, behind the counter, froze, holding a tray of mashed potatoes, wide-eyed. "Mom, is she really filming?" she whispered, face pale. Before I could answer, another woman entered, middle-aged, glasses, holding a notebook and camera. "I'm Sarah from the Seattle Times," she said, offering a handshake. "A friend told me about Hannah. Can I try the food and take some photos?" I glanced at Hannah, who swallowed hard, but I nodded for her. "Of course, come in." Sarah went straight to a table, snapping shots of Hannah's stunning 4-tier cake, then tasting the Wagyu. She scribbled furiously, muttering, "This 17-year-old, this talent is no joke." Meanwhile, Mia live-streamed on TikTok, shouting, "Guys, this is better than any Michelin place I've eaten. Hannah, you're a star." Her video racked up thousands of views, comments flooding in. "This girl's unreal. What kind of family does that?" Guests stood cheering after each dish Hannah served. When dessert, passion fruit mousse with a sugar glaze, hit the tables, the room chanted, "Hannah, Chef of the Year." She stepped out from the kitchen, chef's coat smudged, hair messy, but eyes blazing. "Thank you all," she said, voice shaky but proud. An older regular stood, raising his glass. "To Hannah, who didn't quit despite her family turning their backs, and made food better than any chef we've paid for." The room roared with applause, some standing. Hannah bowed her head, hiding her face, but I saw her lips curve up. I stood there, heart pounding, proud and stunned. An hour ago, Hannah wanted to smash her cake. Now, she was the center of the restaurant, praised by a TikToker and a Seattle Times reporter. But I knew this wasn't over. Mia was still live streaming, and my phone started buzzing. Messages from the family who'd seen the video. They weren't happy. And I knew another storm was coming. Our little restaurant in Pike Place Market was a dazzling stage, chandeliers glinting, applause unending for Hannah. My daughter, just dubbed Chef of the Year by the room, stood in the kitchen, her chef's coat smudged, hands holding a tray of passion fruit mousse, eyes shining despite traces of earlier tears. Mia, the TikToker with 300K followers, was still live streaming, capturing every corner of the restaurant and shouting, "Guys, Hannah's 17 and cooking like a Michelin chef. What kind of family ditches her for a Michelin spot?" Comments flooded her TikTok like a tidal wave. "Hannah's unreal. Who could skip this feast?" Sarah, the Seattle Times reporter, sat in a corner, scribbling notes and snapping photos of Hannah's stunning 4-tier cake, muttering, "This story's going to be huge." I, Laura, stood by the counter, watching Hannah shine, thinking we'd weathered the storm. But then my phone buzzed, and I knew the drama was just starting. The first message was from my dad, Robert. "Shut that live stream down now. She's humiliating the family. I'll sue." My blood boiled. Sue? Because Hannah dared to cook and get praised? Before I could reply, my mom, Susan, called. "Laura, what kind of stunt is this?" she yelled. "All of Seattle's laughing at us. Hannah turned my birthday into a circus online. Stop it or don't blame me." I fought to stay calm. "Mom, Hannah cooked 4 days for your party. You ditched her and used my card for a Michelin dinner. Who's the circus?" She cut in. "Don't bring money into this. Did you teach her to slander us?" I hung up, hands shaking with rage. Then my sister Claire jumped in. She posted an Instagram story from the Michelin restaurant, captioned, "Chasing cheap fame, Hannah. Don't turn Grandma's birthday into your drama stage." It spread fast, her friends piling on with nasty comments. "Thought she was a chef, just a kid craving attention." I saw Hannah, serving mousse, glance at a guest's phone. Her face paled. "Mom, what's Aunt Claire saying about me?" she asked, voice trembling. I pulled her into the kitchen, away from curious eyes. Ignore it, I said, though I wanted to scream. You're doing something amazing. They're just jealous. But the drama didn't stop. My phone buzzed again. A text from a cousin, the only one who didn't go to the Michelin dinner. Laura, the family's meeting at Mom and Dad's. They're hiring a lawyer, saying Hannah's defaming them on TikTok. I laughed. A bitter sound. Defaming. All Hannah did was cook, and all Mia did was tell the truth. I looked at Hannah, checking the oven for the main course, hands still trembling but pushing on. Mom, should I stop? She asked, eyes brimming. No, I said, voice firm. Keep cooking. I'll handle the rest. I knew the family wouldn't back down. They weren't just mad about Mia's live stream. They were furious that Seattle was seeing the truth, that they'd abandoned a 17-year-old and her dream. But I also knew the more they pushed, the further this story would spread. Mia was still filming, guests were still cheering, and Sarah from the Seattle Times whispered to me, Laura, this article will have the city talking about Hannah. This drama wasn't just a family fight anymore. It was becoming a phenomenon. Our little restaurant in Pike Place Market was a furnace, not just from Hannah's steaming dishes, but from the explosive tension. Applause still rang out after each plate she served, and Mia, the TikToker, kept live streaming. Voice electric. Guys, Hannah's a genius. All of Seattle needs to know her. Sarah, the Seattle Times reporter, sat in a corner, scribbling notes at lightning speed, eyes gleaming like she'd found a blockbuster story. I, Laura, stood by the counter, trying to stay calm despite my pounding heart. My phone buzzed with threatening texts from family, my parents, my sister Claire, even a cousin, demanding lawsuits for defamation. But before I could brace myself, the restaurant door flew open and my family stormed in like a hurricane. My dad, Robert, led the charge, face flushed, suit still crisp from their Michelin dinner. My mom, Susan, followed, lips pursed, glaring like she could burn the room down. Claire, my sister, brought up the rear, arms crossed, smirking like she was in a play. Laura! Dad bellowed, drowning out the jazz music. What the hell are you and that girl doing? The whole city's mocking us because of that damn live stream. The room went silent, guests turning to stare. Hannah, holding a tray of passion fruit mousse, froze behind the counter, face pale, hands shaking so much I feared she'd drop it. Mom jumped in, pointing at Hannah. You dare turn my birthday into an online circus, she shrieked, voice shrill. Who do you think you are, a chef? A 17-year-old kid humiliating us. Hannah bowed her head, tears glinting, but she bit her lip, fighting not to cry. Claire, never missing a chance, stepped forward, voice dripping sarcasm. Hannah, think this TikTok stunt will make you famous? Don't kid yourself, you're just a dramatic teen, and we're paying for your spectacle. Guests whispered, some shaking their heads. Mia, still live streaming, zoomed in on my family, commenting, Folks, this is the family that ditched Hannah. Listen to them. I stepped forward, shielding Hannah, heart racing but voice ice cold. Enough, I said. You ditched her, used my card for a $2,000 Michelin dinner, and now you dare yell at her. Hannah cooked for 4 days, up until 2 a.m., spending her savings for Mom's party. You don't deserve a bite of her cake. Dad scoffed. Don't dramatize, Laura. This is family business, not a reality show. But before I could reply, Mike, my husband, strode in from the back door, sawdust on his shirt from the wood shop. He scanned the scene, face hardening, and said, voice low but sharp, Get out, now. You don't yell at my daughter in my house. His guests started filming on their phones. One shouted, Yeah, protect Hannah. My parents and Claire froze, caught off guard by the pushback. Claire muttered something about lawyers and turned, dragging my parents out. The door slammed shut, but I knew it wasn't over. Mia, still live streaming, faced her online audience. See that? Hannah doesn't just cook like a star. She's tough. TikTok comments exploded. What a crazy family. Hannah, I'm rooting for you. Sarah, the reporter, whispered to me. Laura, this video will make the nation know Hannah, your family. They humiliated themselves. I looked at Hannah, still behind the counter, clutching her tray, eyes red but chin high. She didn't speak, just quietly returned to the kitchen, serving dessert. I knew she was hurt, but I saw her strength, a strength our family could never break. This drama, I knew, was about to get bigger. The restaurant door slammed shut after my parents, my sister Claire, and their arrogance vanished into the Pike Place market darkness. But the air inside our little restaurant still crackled, as if a battle had just ended, and we, me, Hannah, and our unexpected guests, were the victors. Hannah, my daughter, quietly returned to the kitchen, serving her passion fruit mousse, hands still trembling, eyes still red. But I saw a subtle shift, her shoulders straighter, chin higher, as if she realized she was stronger than our family tried to make her believe. I, Laura, stood by the counter, heart still pounding, but for the first time tonight, I felt relief. Then my phone buzzed relentlessly, and I knew this story wasn't staying within these walls anymore. Mia, the TikToker with 300K followers, kept live streaming, capturing guests cheering and praising Hannah. But the video that truly exploded was the one of my family storming in, berating her in front of everyone. Guys, look how they treated Hannah, Mia said on the live stream, voice thick with outrage. She cooked for 4 days and they ditched her for a Michelin restaurant. That clip, in just hours, hit millions of views. Comments flooded in like a tidal wave. What kind of family does that? Hannah, you're amazing. Who skips a feast like this? I'm rooting for you. One wrote, Hannah, open your own restaurant. I'll line up. The internet didn't just support Hannah. They were furious for her, turning her story into a viral phenomenon. Sarah, the Seattle Times reporter, texted me that night. Laura, Hannah's story hits the online front page tomorrow. This is bigger than you think. And it was. The article headlined, 17-year-old abandoned by family stunned Seattle with epic feast. Not only praised Hannah's talent, but detailed how our family, anonymized but everyone knew, used my card for a $2,000 Michelin dinner, then came to yell at her. Social media erupted. On Twitter, hashtag Justice for Hannah trended in Seattle. One user wrote, "This family should be ashamed. Hannah's a star." A famous local chef retweeted the article, adding, "Hannah, come to my kitchen anytime." But the best part was the opportunities pouring in for Hannah. A prestigious culinary school in California emailed, offering a full scholarship. A renowned downtown Seattle restaurant proposed a summer internship, calling her a rare talent. Even a content production company reached out, wanting to collaborate with Hannah on YouTube cooking videos. I read the messages to her, and for the first time tonight, Hannah smiled. A real, radiant smile. "Mom, I can't believe it," she said, hugging me tight, chef's coat still smudged with frosting. In the restaurant, guests lingered, chatting and praising Hannah. The fish delivery guy, now on his third plate of Wagyu, stood and raised his glass. "To Hannah, who made all of Seattle proud." The room roared with applause, and Hannah from the kitchen bowed, blushing. Mia ended her live stream with a call. Follow Hannah, support her. She's the future of food. Sarah whispered to me, Laura, you raised an extraordinary girl. I nodded, eyes stinging, heart swelling with pride. This story, I knew, had outgrown a ruined evening. It became a declaration that Hannah's passion and resilience were stronger than any betrayal. But I also knew our family wouldn't let this go. They'd lost on social media, lost in the eyes of the community, and I had a feeling they'd try to strike back. For now, watching Hannah smile in the kitchen, I knew we'd won the first battle. The restaurant kitchen in Pike Place Market was quieter now, just the faint crackle of the oven and a few lingering chuckles from the last guests. Hannah, my daughter, stood behind the counter, peeling off her smudged apron, hair a mess, but eyes blazing like no storm had swept through tonight. Mia's live stream had ended with millions of views. Sarah's Seattle Times article was set to hit the front page online, and all of Seattle was talking about Hannah, the 17-year-old who turned her family's betrayal into a legendary feast. I, Laura, watched her, heart swelling with pride, but knowing this journey didn't end with one night. A year later, Hannah had transformed. She earned a full scholarship to a prestigious culinary school in California, a dream she once thought unreachable. "Mom, I still can't believe it," she said when the acceptance letter arrived, eyes sparkling like when she finished her 4-tier cake. Now a freshman, she stood out in class with creative dishes, from pumpkin ravioli to jasmine tea macarons. The school even invited her to perform at a major culinary event, where she earned applause from veteran chefs. But Hannah didn't stop there. She launched a YouTube channel sharing recipes and her story. It quickly gained hundreds of thousands of followers, with videos like Passion Fruit Mousse in 10 minutes and the story behind my 4-tier cake. Viewers didn't just love her food, they loved her resilience. Beyond school, Hannah started taking orders. Seattle families hired her for birthdays, small weddings. Even a local restaurant brought her on as a summer menu consultant, calling her a rare talent. "Mom, I have clients," she squealed over the phone, voice thrilled when a couple booked her for a wedding cake. She no longer asked, "Is this good enough?" like before. Instead, she moved with confidence, knowing her worth, a certainty I'd never seen in a 17-year-old. As for me, I made a hard but necessary choice. I cut contact with our family. My parents, my sister Claire, and those who turned their backs on Hannah were no longer part of our lives. I canceled the credit card they used for their $2,000 Michelin dinner, and I ignored their threatening texts about lawsuits. I heard they moved to a small town 2 hours from Seattle, seeking a quieter life after friends and neighbors distanced themselves. I wasn't happy about it, but I didn't regret it. They chose their path. Our restaurant has never been busier. Hannah, Mike, and I turned it into a Seattle dining destination, with customers lining up for Hannah's dishes. She even designed a special menu inspired by that fateful night: pan-seared lobster, grilled wagyu, and, of course, passion fruit mousse. Each dish was a reminder that Hannah rose above the darkness to find her light. Looking back, I realized that night wasn't just a ruined party. It was the moment Hannah found herself. And I learned being a mom isn't just protecting your child, it's giving them wings to soar. Hannah's now a rising star, not because of TikTok drama, but because of her talent and heart. This story, I know, isn't over, but for now, it's one of triumph, of rising up, and of a girl who wouldn't let anyone dim her fire. Our little restaurant in Pike Place Market was quieter now, the chandeliers dimming, chairs emptying as the last guests left, leaving the echo of an unforgettable night. Hannah, my daughter, sat on the kitchen counter eating a leftover bite of passion fruit mousse, her smile tired but radiant. I, Laura, stood beside her, reflecting on tonight's wild journey. From the shock of our family's betrayal to the moment all of Seattle rallied for Hannah. Mia's live stream, Sarah's Seattle Times article, and the guests' applause turned pain into triumph. But above all, tonight taught me, and I hope you, precious lessons about life, passion, and standing up when you're knocked down. The first lesson is to believe in your own worth, even when others try to make you doubt it. Hannah cooked for 4 days, pouring sweat, tears, and her savings into a perfect feast. But our family, my parents, my sister Claire, called it child's play, ditching her for a Michelin restaurant's glitz. They wanted her to think her passion was worthless, that she wasn't good enough. But Hannah didn't quit. She kept serving, kept creating, and now Seattle calls her Chef of the Year. If someone says your dream is too big, too naive, or unrealistic, remember Hannah. Your worth isn't in their words. It's in what you dare to do. The second lesson is don't stay silent in the face of injustice. When my family used my card for a $2,000 Michelin dinner, then stormed in to berate Hannah, I could have stayed quiet, swallowed my anger to keep the peace. But I didn't. I called friends, neighbors, strangers to taste Hannah's food. I let Mia live stream, let Sarah write her article, and let the world see the truth. The result? Hannah wasn't just recognized. She got scholarships, opportunities, and love from a community. If you see injustice to yourself or someone you love, speak up. Act. One small move can change the whole story. Finally, lift up the young, those chasing their dreams. Hannah's only 17, but she faced betrayal and rose stronger. Without people like Mia, Sarah, or tonight's guests, her story might have ended in tears. Be the one who supports the next generation. A kind word, an opportunity, or just your presence can change their life. I learned this watching Hannah beam under applause, and I know I'll always be her biggest cheerleader. Tonight, Hannah didn't just cook a feast. She cooked a future. I chose to stand by her, and I'd choose it again every day. You too can choose to stand for passion, justice, and those you love. Don't let anyone dim your fire. Act, believe, and show the world what you can do. Hannah's story is proof. From a broken heart, you can create a masterpiece. The restaurant kitchen in Pike Place Market was calm now. Just the soft hum of the dishwasher and the gentle glow of chandeliers reflecting off empty tables. Hannah, my daughter, sat on the counter, eating the last bite of passion fruit mousse, her smile tired but radiant like a star. I, Laura, stood beside her, looking back on a night full of drama. From our family's betrayal to the moment all of Seattle rallied for Hannah, Mia's live stream with millions of views, Sarah's Seattle Times article set for the front page, and the unending applause from guests turned a shattered evening into an unforgettable triumph. But this story isn't just mine and Hannah's. It's yours too for those listening, feeling, and maybe seeing yourselves in this journey. I want to ask you, did Hannah and I do the right thing, or did we go too far? When my family, my parents, my sister Claire, ditched her, used my card for a $2,000 Michelin dinner, then stormed in to berate her, we chose not to stay silent. I called our community to taste Hannah's food, let Mia live stream, let Sarah tell the story. The result? Hannah now has a scholarship, a million-view YouTube channel, and a bright future. But if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Swallow the anger to keep the peace, or stand up like we did? Leave a comment. Share your story. Have you ever faced injustice and fought back? Hannah and I want to know. More than that, help us spread this story. If Hannah's journey, a 17-year-old turning pain into a masterpiece, inspires you, share this video. Send it to friends, post it on social media, or tell your loved ones about a girl who wouldn't let anyone dim her dream. Every share supports Hannah, showing the world that talent and resilience can overcome anything. And if you're in Seattle, come to our restaurant. Hannah's testing a new menu, and I promise her pan-seared lobster will make you forget every Michelin spot. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to follow Hannah's next steps. We're prepping a new video where she'll share her passion fruit mousse recipe and talk about her first days at culinary school. You'll see her grow from a girl nervous about frosting to a chef confidently cooking for hundreds. I'll also share more about our restaurant, how we've made it a place where every culinary dream is welcome. Finally, thank you for being here, for hearing our story. Tonight, Hannah didn't just cook a feast. She cooked a future, and you, by watching, sharing, and supporting, are helping her dream soar further. Keep following, because I know Hannah's story, and all of ours, has more amazing things ahead. Comment, share, subscribe, and together, we'll make even bigger things happen.